In this video, I'm going to show you my AI agent pet project, a personal assistant that can manage my emails, my calendar, my Slack, and my Notion workspace. Yes, all of that with one agent that, by the way, I can message on Telegram, via Slack, or over email. Now, if we haven't met yet, my name's Alex. I'm one of the co-founders of 9x. We train people on AI and automation. We offer courses, workshops, custom programs for companies, and on our YouTube channel, we show you what's possible with AI and automation today. If it's the first video you see on our channel, I highly recommend you subscribe so you don't miss the next ones. I'm going to give you a full walkthrough of my agent, how I built it, what is already working pretty well, what needs still a little bit of improvement, and what I'm planning in the future. But first, demo time. Please meet Otto, my personal assistant. So let's start with a few demos of Otto inside Telegram. I have a dedicated bot that I can talk to, which I've customized. And the first request, can it pull my calendar events of the day? And so I just ask, what are my meetings today? And here's what Otto returns. If we head to my calendar, that's pretty much what I have planned. So I have 4 meetings ahead of me. And if we head back to Telegram, we can see that Otto is able to figure it out. So my only instructions is to ask for my meetings today. It's going to fetch the meetings of the day in my calendar and going to return this. Can it also interact with my calendar? Can it create events? Let's try this prompt. Can you create a 20-minute blocker for me at 1 p.m. today? We're gonna let it run and see what happens. And it's done. It created a blocker in my calendar. The event has been added. I would have liked the link. Sometimes it shares it, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe I need to configure the instructions further. Let's check in the calendar. Here we can see the blocker has appeared. Pretty cool. And I am the only person invited so far. So far, so good. Now let's see if we can also edit events. Now my blocker is more clear. I want to brainstorm on our lesson on automations together with Piv, my co-founder. Let's see whether it's going to be able to grab that event, change the title, and invite Piv to the blocker. If I head to my calendar, I can see that the same meeting was updated, brainstorm on automation lessons, and that my co-founder Piv was invited. So it's able to edit events, change the title, change the description, invite more people, and so on and so forth. Now, the thing it didn't do is notify me on Telegram. Let's see if it's going to be able to delete the event now. And hopefully this time it's going to report back. So pretty cool, it was able to delete the event and we both have been notified. So pretty good. So with those 3 cases, you can see that Otto is able to read events, to create new events, to update existing ones, and to even delete them. Next up, let's see what it can do with my emails. So example number 2, we're in my mailbox now. I have a question from Piv about potential material for AI for leadership workshop. Do we have any doc that I could share with a prospect for an AI for leadership workshop? I could reply myself. What we're going to do is to have Otto look for that information and reply to me so I can just forward this email afterwards. So let's try this. I've never tried this. I'm very excited. Can you reply to Piv's question and provide the link to the corresponding Notion workshop? So you can see I have emailed Otto. It's going to have the context of the email, but it also has access to my Notion workspace. So I'm very excited to see the result. And looks like I've got a response. Hi Piv, here's the link to the AI for Leadership workshop material you requested. Let me know if you need any further question. And the big suspense is what happens when I open this link. Ooh, looks like the workshop I was referring to. Pretty wild. Based off a very simple prompt. Well, I knew that the AI for Leadership workshop was in there, in Notion. But a very unspecific prompt. It went to Notion, it looked for the right documents, and it emailed me back the document. So now the way I've configured it right now, it replies to me, but you could imagine also that later on it will reply to the person directly. And so I can just do this. Like, I still need to do this. This is the way I've configured it, but this is pretty wild because it can access our Notion workspace, it's able to find the right piece of information and send it back to where I am right now, which is my mailbox. For your information, Piv, there you go. Demo number 3, and this time we are going to be in Slack, and we'll see how Otto can interact with my Notion workspace. To give you a bit of context, I have, among others, a tasks database in Notion, and you can see the tasks that are assigned to me and open and due soon. And let's see what we can do with Otto on this task database. So let's start simple and ask Otto, what are my open tasks? Hopefully it's going to search inside Notion and return the open tasks that I've just shown you. And Otto replied, let's check. Here are your open tasks, Alex. Organize demos database in Notion. Files, automation roadmap template, call center support. Send Einkommen Steuerbescheid 2022 TK. So this is exactly what I've opened. It added the backlog, and so it's able to read that specific tasks database. Pretty cool. So reading is cute, but what about writing, editing, updating records? Let's see if Otto can also create things inside my Notion workspace. And here I asked it to create a task for me. Give Justine a praise for her video editing magic. Justine, this is for you. Assigned to me due tomorrow. And here's the response already. Created the task, give Justine a praise for her video editing magic in Notion. I got the link and let's just see. So it's in the backlog, is for December 6th, which is tomorrow. And so perfect. So we have the ability to also write in our Notion workspace. Can we take a minute to acknowledge how wild this is? If you told me 3 years ago that I could write in plain English some instructions to a program that will then go on and perform the actions across any of the tools I use, I would have laughed at you. But this is happening right now. This is it. I personally find this insane. And now let's take a look at Otto behind the scenes. So this is behind the scenes what it took to build Otto. We have in total 5 agents. We have a main agent, Otto, that is going to oversee the work of 4 sub-agents. 1 Notion manager, 1 calendar manager, 1 email manager, and 1 Slack manager. So if we first take a look at Otto itself, what is the job of Otto? It's receiving initial communication from me from various channels, forwarding to the right sub-agent to perform the task, replying once it gets the response from the sub-agent with the outcome, and determining whether there are next steps, and if there are any, forwarding again to the next agent. And so you have those layers here. Of course, in the details, there's a lot of things to configure. But at first level, we have right here the different channels. So I'm going to zoom in. First, this layer, you have the channels. We can message Otto from Telegram, from Slack, from Lindy message, so directly in Lindy's UI, or from email. And then the first decision Otto needs to make is which sub-agent should it call. It can forward work to one of the 4 agents, and those are the conditions here. You can define it. If you need to interact with my email, then you are going to forward to the email manager. If you need to do something on Slack, it's going to be the Slack manager, etc. Once the message is sent, we are waiting for a reply, and so the sub-agent that is working is going to do something and report back. We're going to see in a minute how sub-agents are configured. And the next decision for Otto is to define where it should reply, which we have configured to be based on where the initial message came. So if I message on Telegram, it will reply on Telegram. If I message via Slack, it will reply on Slack. You get the idea. So not so complicated. For those first 2 layers. What happens afterwards? If the task still requires some follow-up steps, this is where we're going to have this additional condition. So what are the next steps? And here, depending on what we need to do, so it might start with a Notion query, but it might need to end with a Slack message. And so that is this condition here. This is what is going to define whether we're going to routing to a different sub-agent next. And so depending on what we need to do, we're going to have the forwarding made to a different agent. And you have also, if you need to perform another action, then we are going to forward to, again, the top of the flow and determine which subagent is going to perform the next action. For each subagent, whenever the reply is received, we're going to forward always to the same channel here. And we're going to define, okay, so where should I reply? Once again, where was the initial query sent? If this is from Telegram, we're going to send the follow-up message down. So you have these, this sort of like 3-4 layers. First, the channel, the initial channel where I can trigger the agent. A first step of forwarding to the right subagent depending on the task. The step to reply. And this is all handling basically what do we do if there are some follow-up actions? Who do we forward it to next? Or do we need to loop again? That's for Otto, the overview. And now let's see some sub-agents. So if we take our calendar manager, the only trigger that we have for this agent is going to be a message received by Otto. So it receives its instruction. And the first question for any of these sub-agents is, what do I need to do? And here, basically, the way Lindy works, in an ideal case, and the initial idea how we wanted to build it is to have just this agent module, which has a set of instructions and has all the tools it needs to access my calendar and perform actions. Just this module figuring it out. Now we spoke to the team at Lindy. This does not seem to be the optimal setup yet. For actions that have clear pattern, it is best to use directly the pre-built actions. And so in this example here, and this is how you should build your sub-agent, I have, in the case of calendar, I have a very common use case of viewing events. So we are adding as a first condition, if you need to view my calendar events, then perform this action instead. Let's not go through an agent. This is a very usual query, and let's just view my events. Same if we want to create an event. Here in this case, let's just create the event and let's not go through the agent. However, and that's always the third or the last condition with those agents, if we need to do something else, something that is not yet programmed here, then we enter with an agent, and that agent has a set of instructions, is going to figure out what to do. It can, by the way, also, if it realizes it needs to create an event, that's one of the exit conditions. Create an event is going to do this action. If it's to view events, it's going to do this action. But for everything else, we have basically a set of instructions and all these actions that are available. So that's sort of the pattern, the common actions in your branch at the beginning, whether it's Notion, calendar, email, Slack, try to put these first. And then at the last branch, this is not a typical action, we're going to put the agent right here. Then as an outcome, with agents, we have two things. Either the task was completed or the task was not completed. So we have two outcomes. Whenever we have those typical actions, we go to the happy path. So the task is complete and we report back to Otto. If it's not completed, we report back to Otto right here. And then here we are going to have basically the follow-up with Otto that is handled with these last modules. So that's an example for a calendar manager. Here's an example with a Notion manager. So a disclaimer here, the Notion integration is very, very recent with Lindy. And as soon as we saw it, we were very excited because we wanted to create immediately an agent that has all the actions in Notion and test that. Now it turns out that there are still some restrictions. The team at Lindy is working hard towards improving some of the modules, but we cannot do most of the actions with an agent and we need to configure those routes instead. So to give you a bit of context, inside our Notion workspace, we have the following objects. So we have the following databases. By the way, this is a tip you need to implement Notion, is to have a database for everything that has a pattern. So in our case, we are making lessons, for instance, or we're hosting live sessions, or we have editions of our newsletter. Every time it's a database, and you just have one page where you store all those objects. So I wanted to have our agents interact with our Notion workspace. And unfortunately, it's not possible to say right now, hey, here's my whole Notion workspace, and when I'm going to say Eventbrite events, it's going to know which database query and it's going to be able to create. We're not there yet. And so the fallback is to do this. For every object that you have a pattern of creating or viewing things, you're going to create a branch. So I wanted to create a tasks. We have tutorials. It's another database. Create tutorial. Demos, YouTube videos, exercises, lessons, workshops. These are the usual suspects. Like when I want, oh, here's a workshop idea I have, can you create one? It's going to go through that branch. And as already mentioned, the last branch is going to be go down this path if you need to do something else. So for everything else, I'm going to have the agent. If we look at the agent module itself, so we have a set of instructions, and in terms of tools, this is what we have at the moment. So in the near future, all of this I think will be handled at agent level. I will be able to create pages, to create database items, to add content to a page. The reality right now is it's a bit difficult to grab the objects. We have a lot of errors on the API level. And the goal of Lindy is to give you tools that just work out of the box. Some of these integrations right now require us to fetch some information, and Lindy's not doing that yet. And so we're not really able to use all those tools yet. But in the near future, the way you'd configure an agent to interact with your Notion workspace on Lindy is to give some set of instructions, give actions, and I would expect that this starts to work like a charm. So our fallback right now for the usual actions is to create those modules here. And it works pretty well. We've seen in the demo, I was able to create tasks. So if I ask to create a workshop, it's going to create a workshop. Everything works pretty fine. You can see the same pattern, task complete or task not completed. Do I need to do something else? And then we report back to Otto whenever required. A sneak peek into the email manager. This is a recent one I added. My typical action that was costing a lot of operations in Lindy if I left it for the agent is to search emails. So I put it here. And otherwise, same pattern. It receives a message from Otto, determines what it needs to do, and afterwards reports back if the task is complete or not completed, and whether it needs to do something else. Last sub-agent, we have our Slack manager. Same pattern, it receives a message from Otto, then it goes directly to an agent, so I don't have a typical first action in mind right now. I don't use it so much, mostly use Telegram, the email, and the Notion, and testing a lot this one. And the same pattern, when the task is complete, it's going to report back to Otto. If it's not completed, it's going to report differently. It's going to wait for responses from Otto and determine whether its task was completed. If we take a quick look at Otto's settings, it has a bit of context about its role, the fact that it's going to interact with 4 sub-agents, its objective, there's a standard operating procedure, and basically some context about what each sub-agent does and when to call it. And also in the memory, something that's very useful is to explain who I am, who are the other people in the team. So I don't have to say Jan Meinecke or Pierre Garcia. I can simply say Pierre and Jan. I'm referring to these people. And last point, you want the best model possible for your personal assistant agent, because it's going to catch up some errors. It's going to route and make the decisions for you. And so right now I use Claude 3.5 Sonnet. If there's a better model tomorrow, this is the first thing I'm going to switch. I'm not going to show the settings of every sub-agent, but this is very, very analog for each. It's going to give some background that there's an agent that is going to give instructions, some standard operating procedure, so the manager agent, and some additional instructions. In the case of the calendar manager, she should be a mistake here. I probably don't need the Notion UID, but we have, of course, the email. So who's who, what's their email address, because for calendar, it's going to be very important. So far, I would keep also the model to Claude Sonnet 3.5. The smarter these things are, the less mistakes they should do. The demos I showed you are just a teaser of what Otto can do. Here you can see the full list of test cases I've been through over the last days. And it gives you already an idea of what Otto can do at the moment, but also its limitations and what I'm going to build next. So first of all, multi-channel communication. I wanted a personal assistant that's everywhere I need it to be. Telegram, Slack, and email. All 3 work. One caveat on Telegram. all your tasks will be in a single conversation. It's like you're chatting with one person. I find it a bit more organized in Slack, where you have a message and then it will reply in a thread. And so you can have different threads for different tasks. Now, on the agent-to-agent communication, Otto can delegate, receive tasks, and give follow-up instructions to my 4 subagents. There's still a few things I need to correct. Sometimes it doesn't respond to me. Sometimes things get lost. But overall, it works already. It's good enough. In the worst case, the task was completed, but I don't get a notification. But these are small things I need to adjust. Otherwise, the delegation works pretty well and work gets done, which is the essential. What can the calendar manager do? We can see events. We see that it returns a list of events. It can create time blockers. And in this case, it will also check for conflicting events. So it will not create or double book me. It can update events. It can delete events. This we have seen. The email manager, although I turned that functionality off, can draft emails. It can respond to emails. It can get a specific email, get the past emails with a specific person. This query was particularly expensive. I think I spent close to 1,000 credits or 800 credits to get all the emails with one person, but it works. So it's more a matter of fine-tuning that. And you can also edit email drafts. So you can have it create a draft, edit the draft just with instructions. The Slack manager, so far I'm not using so much, is able to get Slack messages and reply in the thread as we've seen. It works pretty well. And the Notion manager, the one I was really excited about, this one will be my next to-do. I'm waiting for Lindy to basically improve the update and delete database items module so that I can dynamically inject the object idea. Right now in Lindy, if you're trying to use these actions, basically you have to specify the exact item you want to update or delete. And this is not dynamic. So unless I want my personal assistant to edit always the same thing, we're not able to do that yet. And so right now what it can do is finding database items, which I found work pretty well, and also creating new database item with the hack I just showed you. So that's for the overview of what I've tested so far, and you can see this already pretty good for a proof of concept. Now, this video wouldn't be complete without talking about the current limitations of this build. No, not everything works perfectly with Otto at the moment. He's still in his probation period, and there's still a couple of mistakes that he does frequently that are pretty embarrassing. Like this one, for instance. I wanted Otto initially to create 2 tasks, give Justin a praise, and prepare AI for GTM Teams workshop outline. As we can see, it called the Notion manager for the first task, and the task was created. It forgot to do the second one. And right now I don't understand how to make it create a list of tasks, so several tasks. It did it in the past, but I cannot have it consistently do that. And that's fairly simple in my opinion. It's something that it should be able to do. So I have some work to do to improve it. Or the case that I showed you when I went to look for this AI for leadership workshop material, it had to do 3 iterations until it could find that, which is not a problem unless it costs 547 credits, which is, if I done my math right, about €5. So a bit expensive, in my opinion, to just retrieve one Notion link. And the reason for that are those 3 loops that it had to do. And it did find the solution in the first loop, but for some reason, it went through another search twice. I'll conclude this video with the next steps and what I'm looking forward to. And it's very simple. It's just 3 things. Number 1, I'm looking forward to seeing Lindy improve some of the integrations that Otto is using, in particular the Notion one, which in my opinion is going to open up a wide array of possibilities. Imagine having an agent that interacts with a whole Notion workspace, can make edits on your behalf, can create any database item for you. I think once they've nailed that integration, this is going to be a big unlock for Lindy and Notion users. Number 2, and that's more work that I have to do, I want to connect Otto to our knowledge base. I wanted to retrieve more things about 9x, about me, so that the responses it returns are more relevant. This is going to unlock a lot of things, especially for writing and drafting emails. And this is more what the next version of Otto should have as improvement: connection to our knowledge base and some more context about us and what we do. And number 3, and for me, this is game over if we have that. I am looking forward to seeing voice coming at some point. Imagine having just to speak to your phone to be able to perform those actions. I put in another video how I interact with ChatGPT nowadays, mostly using voice mode. And once this lands in other applications, this is something that I'm really looking forward to. And if I could speak to Otto, and that's all I need for it to perform actions, that would be ideal. And that's the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed watching this longer format. There was a lot to unpack. Let me know if you have questions about Otto, or if you'd like me to release a version of Otto in the Lindy community, or maybe a template that you could duplicate. That would require a bit of work from my side, so only if you have a lot of people that ask for it, I will do it. Do you have any questions on how it works? Are you trying to build yours? I would be very, very interested in seeing that in the comments, and happy to answer any question you may have. Until next time, see you for the next video. Cheers! And I forgot, if you've made it this far and you still haven't subscribed to our channel, why? Just subscribe.